earlier that William Troost-Ekong has called it quits with the national team. He has said it's goodbye to the national team, but basically international football. We also talked about the Nigeria Premier Football League. Now, don't forget, matches will be played this weekend. Today, Real Oviedo will take on Mallorca. Mainz 05 versus Borussia Mönchengladbach, and that is in the German Bundesliga. In the French Ligue 1, you have Brest versus AS Monaco, while Marseille will be away to Lille. Now, let's look at what to expect tomorrow. There's an early kickoff in the English Premier League where Arsenal takes on Aston Villa away from home. Now, we've seen Aston Villa deny Arsenal the league. We've seen that happen. That defeats Arsenal suffered in the hands, cost Arsenal the league at the end of the season. Now, to give us analysis on this, let's travel to Lagos to bring in Oluwarotimi Ogumoko. He joins us from Lagos this morning. Good morning, Rotimi, and welcome to the show. What a big weekend that awaits us, most especially at 1:30 p.m. Kickoff on Saturday. Arsenal takes on Aston Villa away from home. They know they can't afford to lose that game, because if they do, 5 points can turn to 2 points. And the team behind them, Manchester City, they climbed that table. It's all over for us now. Maybe all over. Welcome once again.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning to the viewers at home, and good morning to you as well, Joseph. So for the Arsenal versus Aston Villa match, I think this is a must-win for Arsenal. Now, contrary to the opinion that it's apart from the fact that it's about the points, it's about the 3 points because of the people that are coming behind, especially Manchester City, and as well Aston Villa is third on the table. The reason I'm saying that this match is a must-win for Arsenal is because when you think about it, for the past 3 seasons thereabouts, Aston Villa are beginning to make themselves like a boogie team for Arsenal. Every single time Arsenal has something at stake, Aston Villa just seems to show up from nowhere and then snatch it away from them. And it's not like Aston Villa use it for anything. It's just like taking the point away from them. So I think that Arsenal have to go there and make a big statement by beating Aston Villa away from the Emirates.
But the implications if Arsenal fails to win?
The implications if Arsenal fail to win is just, it sort of like proves the doubt that's right. Because right now, every single person in the footballing world that is not an Arsenal fan is doubting Arsenal and saying that they are going to flop, they are going to drop. And so if Arsenal fail to win, you sort of like give a boost to Manchester City, which is the closest person to Arsenal, and then you prove a lot of doubt that's right. So there will be no excuses for this game.
Let's look at other fixtures at the Vitality Stadium by 4 p.m. Chelsea will take on Bournemouth. You expect Chelsea to bounce back against Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium after that embarrassing defeat they suffered in the hands of Leeds United, but then it's going to be a tough nut, or hard nut, as they say, to crack.
Yes, for Bournemouth Chelsea, I think that there are 2 teams looking to bounce back from this game, because Chelsea on one hand will be looking to bounce back after they've had a relatively good game against Burnley. They beat Barcelona in the Champions League, and they did well to beat Arsenal 1-1 at the Stamford Bridge. I said beat Arsenal because that's how Chelsea fans have been handling it. Anyways, Bournemouth as well have started the season on a very good note. However, as it has gone recently, it's not been going well for them. So I think 2 teams would be looking to bounce back from that match, and we are in for a crack out the match.
Still with the Chelsea game, Enzo Maresca, is it part of the problem at Chelsea at the moment with the style of rotation?
No, I wouldn't say he is part of the problem. I would just say, or maybe if I want to agree that he's part of the problem, I would just question his selections, because I mean, Yorelato is right there. You can use Hato. Why Tosin Adarabioyo? Now it takes nothing away from Adarabioyo, because you can see that he is fighting confidence for now. So maybe play him less and play other players more. However, I think there is a culture at Chelsea right now which Enzo Maresca needs to address. It's a problem of aggressiveness and emotions. Most of their key players play with too much emotions invested into the game, and it sort of like affects them. I remember last 4 games, I was talking with a Chelsea player, and I said, Caicedo is too aggressive. If you don't caution him now, you will caution him when he begins to cost you points. Now, when Caicedo got red carded against Arsenal last week, and then Chelsea went on to lose to Leeds, Caicedo was one of the primary reasons why Chelsea lost to Leeds. So maybe if these things begins to cost them games, like Enzo missing out on games and other things, and then if you check their red card history this season, is really not looking good. So I think it's something that they need to address first before then looking at the rotation.
Now, would you agree that this might be a 50-50 chance for both teams as Everton takes on Nottingham Forest? Nottingham Forest have improved since they got a new manager, but Everton, Nottingham Forest, I for one, very difficult to place a bet on this.
Yes, it's a very difficult match because if you check it, both teams sort of like are going on the same run. I think the last Everton have won 2 games and lost 1. Nottingham Forest have also won 2 games and 3 games and lost 1. Everton the same thing. So it's sort of like a contest between 2 meetable teams, and I think it's sort of like those games that ends up in a draw or a very, very tight game.
Okay, let's move to the Etihad Stadium and talk about Manchester City. They take on a Sunderland side that has impressed a lot of people. On paper, normally you say Manchester City to win, but you'll be doing that at your own discretion because it's going to be a difficult game, no doubt about that. And you know, Sunderland will be losing at least 5 players to the African Cup of Nations. This will be their last game, I stand corrected, before the Nations Cup kickstarts. These guys want to leave Sunderland in a reasonable position before they leave, because you and I know it will cost Sunderland.
Yeah, yes, so talking about Sunderland, this is, permits me to say, this is one of the reasons why you see top teams try as much as possible not to bring in too many African players. Unfortunately, we cannot change our schedule here in Africa for the Premier League in consideration of the Premier League. However, like you said, I think the Sunderland players that might potentially be missing out in subsequent weeks to come would be looking to make a lasting statement for Sunderland right now to say, look, yes, we are going to be leaving, but we are going to be leaving you with something to hold on to while we go and represent our motherland and then come back. So I think that the game against it's just unfortunate that the game is coming and the game is going to be happening at the Etihad, which sort of like puts Sunderland at a deficit. But I am expecting a really interesting game from Manchester City.
But do you also think that the outcome of the game between Arsenal and Aston Villa, which is the early kickoff game, might also play a huge role in Manchester City Sunderland? Because if Arsenal fails to win that game, City know they have a shot.
Yes, I think that regardless, right now, if you follow what Manchester City fans are projecting on themselves, I think they are more focused on Arsenal dropping points than them winning their games. However, I trust Pep Guardiola's mentality to know that it's more about him winning his games than other teams losing. But if Arsenal drop points against Aston Villa, you are giving Manchester City that edge to say, yes, we can go ahead and do it. They've given us something to work with. So just crush the total belief Arsenal doing that against Aston Villa, and they don't care about the Manchester City and Sunderland match.
I want to look at this game between Leeds United and Liverpool. That's another big game. A big game. On a good day, shouldn't be a big game. But Leeds United, with what they did against Chelsea, they're bringing in confidence. Contrary to what we have at Liverpool, because I feel what is affecting Liverpool right now is not getting the right selection, and the players, that confidence level is low. So it makes it a big game because Liverpool are away from home to Leeds United, and that's another big one and a difficult game for Liverpool, considering the way they've been playing this season.
Yes, first of all, I'm sure everybody is surprised at how Leeds were able to beat Chelsea. I don't think anybody was expecting that. Secondly, talking about Liverpool are in a sort of catastrophic dilemma, if I can say that, because you look at how much players they have, and then you are wondering and thinking to yourself, what exactly is going on with this Liverpool squad? Because they are rich in the attack, they are rich in the midfield. Maybe they are very light in the defense, but for a top team and for a team that is the defending champion, it shouldn't actually be this bad. And they are actually very, very bad right now. And then the problem is that it's not looking like it's going to get better or it's going to get good. And so I entertained the talks where people said that Arne Slot might have lost the dressing room. So for the Leeds versus Liverpool match, I think that it's a game of I will still pitch Liverpool to beat Leeds at home. Yeah.
All right, so we're looking at Tottenham versus Brentford, and the Tottenham-Brentford game, what makes it very interesting is that Tottenham, well, they're either here nor there. You can't really predict what they bring or which Tottenham will show up, you know, for the party. And they take on the Brentford side. Now, Brentford losing to Arsenal 2-0 will be taking on their former coach, and Thomas Frank. That's another Interesting game. Not a big game here. For me, it's a 70-30 Tottenham to win at the new Tottenham Stadium, in my own opinion. But the fact that Thomas Frank is the coach of Tottenham, it might know in and out of Brentford.
Well, yes, you might be correct there, Joseph. Talking about the Tottenham Brentford badge, because Thomas Frank looking to face his old side is really a big factor coming in, because you can tell that he is accustomed to a lot of the players and their style of play. However, I think the X factor for Brentford this season has been Igor Thiago, which whom Thomas Frank is not used to or doesn't really understand his style of play. So this might be that edge that Brentford have over Tottenham. However, because Tottenham are playing at home and they're at a really tough time or really tight time where they need a win to boost back and bounce back their confidence. So because they are at home, we can say yes, they get a win against Brentford.
All right, let's leave the Premier League just because we have 2 minutes to speak to you. 2 minutes 30 seconds if we're lucky. I'm looking at the Spanish La Liga. It's also interesting. Barcelona will be in action tomorrow by 9 p.m. and they take on Athletic Club away from home. Even though Athletic Club have not been themselves, they've been a shadow of themselves. They take on Barcelona. Should we be expecting a tough game?
Okay, for the Barcelona, I think it's Real Betis Barcelona.
I beg your pardon, Real Betis Barcelona. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So for the Real Betis Barcelona, it's actually going to be a tough game. Real Betis is never a team to wave aside and say you are going to walk over them. And right now, I think Barcelona would need to just keep on doing what they are doing, because Real Madrid are coming really fast and in a really good form right now with Kylian Mbappe firing on all sides. And so for Barcelona versus Real Betis, I think Barcelona just have to go there and get the win. Whether they play well or not, just go ahead and get your win against Real Betis.
And finally, we look at Real Madrid Celta Vigo. Madrid should be winning at the Santiago Bernabeu. And the form Kylian Mbappe is right now is pushing Madrid forward.
Yeah. So talking about Real Madrid Celta Vigo, I think I have to give kudos to Kylian Mbappe first for owning the team. I think he has now snatched the team away from Vinicius and then held the team and then say, look, this is my team now and this is me commanding the team now. I think Mbappe has now transformed into what everybody likes to call the Galactico. So right now, there is no way Athletic Club managed to do something against Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid are going to completely blow them away.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Just before we let you go here, I'd like to put you on the spot once again. Arsenal versus Aston Villa. I see a 2-2 draw. What's your prediction?
I would go with a 2-1 win.
A 2-1 win for Arsenal.
Yeah.
So Liverpool versus Leeds. I see Liverpool was continuing. 2-1 win for Leeds. What's your prediction?
I would go with a 3-2 win for Liverpool.
And finally, Chelsea versus, I'm trying to get a team Chelsea will be playing here. Chelsea, of course, will be taking on, trying to get a team. Just a minute to see who Chelsea would be playing. Okay, I think I have that. They'll be taking on Bournemouth. I see a 1-0 draw. What's your prediction?
I will tilt towards a 2-2 draw.
A 2-2 draw. Rotimi Ogumoko, I must say thank you for being a part of the show, and thank you for always joining us whenever we call. God keep us alive. We should be joining you next week Friday, God willing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you once again. All right, guys, that's the show this morning. We've just spoken to Rotimi Ogumoko, who joined us from Lagos. He's a sports analyst and presenter based in Lagos. My name is Joseph Atewe. I'm saying thanks for watching and thank you for being a part of the show throughout the week. God willing, God spare our lives. On Monday morning, we should be here to give you more stories making the headlines in the world of sport. And do not forget, this weekend, the Formula One season will come to an end. Is it Lando Norris? Is it Max Verstappen?